This will pass the next
It rained a couple of days terrible.
You ordered one dog show on like 9 o'clock?
Yeah, right.
Okay, awesome.
I'm making a racist comment there about
Seeing now the D's here, we can start.
Okay. It's a microphone, so you know it's real. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I hate these. Can I make it taller? Can I make it taller? Can I make it taller? You can hear me anyway. You can probably hear me if I just use my regular voice. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming to see Marco and Lauren and me and Jack. Announcements. Jesus. Announcements. April the 26th is the next pay or perform. It's that thing. You pay 50 crowns and then you don't have to perform. Or you perform and then you don't have to pay 50 crowns. You all disappeared. That was awesome. April the 27th is the Brno Expat Fair at Tržnica, and I'm emceeing it, so you can come and tell me what a shitty job I do moderating living in Brno.
Okay.
Don't. May is the next Czech theater play, which is Janufa. It's super depressing, you should come. Jack's in it on the 18th and 19th, so get your tickets for the 18th and 19th if you want to see Jack be a horrible person. Play a horrible person. And so I'm going to tell you a story, short one, and then we'll have actual funny, because I'm not funny, I'm humorous. A long time ago, when I was a wee, small slip of a girl, I went to university and I got my first stalker. Some girls go to university to get their husbands and an MRS degree. But I was going for a bachelor's in poetry, so I got a stalker. And my superpower, for as long back as I can remember, my superpower has been that if I break up with someone, they want me. I think I look really good when I'm walking away. So I met this guy, we dated for 2 weeks. I found out he was super violent and I broke up with him, and then he super wanted me. This was before the superhero movies, but this was after comic books, so I knew it was a superpower. Sometimes he wanted another chance, and sometimes he wanted to kill me. And this was after toxic masculinity, but before we had a word for it, so we just called him creepy. And, he tried to break into my apartment, so I stopped sleeping at home. I started sleeping on the couch at work. This was after couch surfing, but before there was a couch surfing website. This was before websites. And he would wait for me outside of class. He would wait for me at my car in a parking lot in California University, which is kind of a gift. And I went to the campus police and I said I was frightened. And they said, well, you know, if you wanted somebody to not get obsessed with you, you shouldn't have fucked him, which was not really helpful. So I went to the dean and I arranged to have all of my classes conducted by mail. So I finished out my senior year of university by post, because this was after post boxes, but before email. And my grades didn't do that well, but that was fine. I got out of university and I moved to Japan, and he also followed me to Japan, but it's a big country, so he didn't find me there. In Japan, I didn't really have a superpower. Eating sushi, my body weight in sushi is not really a superpower, although I did practice it a lot. When I moved back to California, something like the first week I was back, he crossed the street in front of my car, and I started having panic attacks. And so I enrolled in a street fighting class. This was after women could take boxing classes, but before we were expected to do pole dancing, so this was a good time for me, fitness-wise. So I started taking street fighting classes, and I got really good at it. One of my happiest memories was in my street fighting class. This was like a big gym where they trained police officers. Our teachers were police officers. And for our final exam, what they would do is they would have the cops come in riot gear and try to handcuff us, and we would try to not get handcuffed. And my memory is that a cop had me down and I'm spinning like a top on the floor and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. This is a gym where they train cops regularly. I screamed so much and so loud that someone called the police on the police. And I realized that I had found my third superpower, which is that I can scream. If you ever need somebody to be loud, I'm your girl. I also helped train the SWAT teams. This was after SWAT teams had been invented, but before they'd been militarized. They were mostly fighting the war on drugs, which was mellow, before the war on terror. And one thing I can tell you is, so what they did with us was they had hostage situations where either we were the hostage takers or we were the hostages, and they practiced negotiating. If you are ever in a hostage situation, my advice to you is don't be in a hostage situation, because it's really boring. You just sit there for a really, really, really long time waiting for pizza, and then they don't send in enough pizza, and then it's pizza with pineapples. So, not a plus. Also, this was after television, and after good television, but before Pirate Bay. So I missed some good stuff, sitting on the floor, waiting for shitty pizza. And then I moved here. Speaking of shitty pizza. So I moved here, and I felt pretty safe. You know, nobody was going to pull a gun on me, nobody was going to pull a knife on me, except, you know, the ones. And I started to relax, and I also started to get older, and I also started to turn invisible. First, taxi drivers didn't see me, which is fine. I can walk. And then waiters didn't see me. Tomasz sees me, which is nice. But waiters in general don't see me. And this is also a superpower. I was still kind of holding out for flight, you know, but I got invisible, and invisible's not bad. By the age of 45, I could have robbed a bank if all the tellers were dudes. Sure, I didn't see anything. No. I thought I was invisible. It was pretty good until this winter I was crossing Veveji, and the light was red, but I thought I was invisible until I got to the other side of the street where there was a cop. And he saw me. It was really cold, and my eyes water when it's cold, and I was late to meet my friends, and I was stressed out. So I'm like, okay, I'm crying. I was crying. And the cop stops me, and he's ready to do a little cop authority. Hey, little lady, saw you crossing the street. But when he got closer to me, he realized that I wasn't a little lady. I was more like a little old lady. And he was like, well, ma'am, you should really wait for a green light. And I said, I'm sorry. He said, you go have a good night, ma'am. And I realized that I had transcended into my current superpower, which is that I remind people of their mom. It works really well with the theater. It's like, you haven't learned your lines? Really? And you might not think that I remind you of your mom, right? You might think I remind you of Ellen, she's funny, or Ursula, the sea witch. And you don't have to think I look like your mom. You can have your own opinions. That's totally fine. You can think whatever you like. I'm not even angry about it. I'm just disappointed in you. Thank you. Next we have Marco Moretti from Italy and Sweden and Denmark. He's international.
Wow. This is not easy to untangle, but yay! I managed to do it. Hello, people! This is really loud. Sorry. So, fantastic to be here. I landed I came here like 5 hours ago with my friend Lauren, and we had the most warm welcome ever. We actually ended up at the wrong station because Google Maps was completely fucked up and told me like, oh, it's still half an hour, and the reality was like 2 minutes. And Lauren decided to take a bathroom break. So my actual arrival in Brno was me with 3 backpacks on my back, kicking a bathroom door and saying, hey Lauren, we need to hurry up. So we ran down the train, and we actually get on the street, and there's no fucking one around. And we're like, okay, we need to take the tram. And we walk to the tram station, and after 10 minutes we're like, oh, there's road work there. No tram is ever coming. So we start walking to the place, and we go to this road work, and it was amazing. It looked like the beginning of Silent Hill. There was nobody around, road work everywhere, smoke coming out of the ground, and this is how I got welcomed here. So thank you very much. But I love the intimacy of this place. I love this small audience. It really reminds me of my last colonoscopy. Which was a really romantic thing. I actually did that during Christmas, so they actually put me down and I woke up in another room next to a Christmas tree. It felt like I was raped by Santa. It was honestly a horrible memory, but yeah, this seems like kind of the same setting. So as you can tell by this Super Mario with the speech language pathology accent I'm carrying around, I'm from Italy, as also Anne told you. But I moved to Sweden 5 years ago. And I do hate being a comedian. Hate being a comedian because it actually puts you in the situation where you always have to be funny. Everybody's expecting you to be funny all the time, and I can be funny like 2 times a week tops. This is my 3rd one, guys. Cross your fingers. Okay? So, I actually, as I said, I moved to Sweden, and I'm coming from the most dangerous place in Sweden, which sounds like the most dangerous of the Backstreet Boys. I'm coming from Malmo, which is next to Copenhagen. That's why actually I'm Danish as well. I work there 8 hours a day, so for 8 hours I'm a double immigrant, which put me in a nice place here because, and right now I'm basically a 3-time immigrant because I'm going to go back to Copenhagen and then to Malmo. But I don't really understand how people can find Malmo dangerous. Like, I work in Milan, and Malmo to me seems like Disneyland. It's horrible. Like, you just walk around and there's people having fun, everybody is nice with you, they actually return your wallet if you lose it around. So, and I'm like, oh, this town is so dangerous and the rains. I'm like, yeah, you should try my hometown. I'm coming from an amazing place in Italy, southwest of Milan, 40,000 people, the smartest one is a plumber. And that guy is the genius around. So, yeah. That's why I find myself very well in Sweden, mostly because it's the most polite country in the world. And the nice thing is that I like to talk, as you can tell. So one day I realized, back in my youth, I wanted to be a philosopher. I always been a lot into philosophy, the meaning of life, and this kind of stuff. And I realized Italy is 60 million people who never shut the fuck up. And I wanted to talk about the meaning of life to these people, but in Italy you never get to the end of a fucking sentence. So, when you start talking, like, you know your time is over, when someone just jumps in and says, shut the fuck up, I know better than you and I'm gonna tell you. So I actually looked up to like the best place I could move to practice my speech, and that turned out to be Sweden, a place nobody dares to interrupt me unless I take a 10 seconds pause in a conversation. Which is really weird, because I feel I could kill these people just by talking. Sometimes I just go on and on and on and on and on and on, and like, why don't you say anything? Oh, I'm waiting for you to stop. Dude, you're gonna be dead the moment I stop. You could just sit there for the rest of your life. And the same thing is happening to me when I go back to Italy. When I have an argument with my dad in Italy, I wait for him to stop talking before I can start talking, and he just go on for 3 hours, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm gonna die. But the reality is that I moved to Sweden for love. There are just a few reasons why people actually leave their ass from a country and move somewhere else. It's like love or job. And I honestly think love is this amazing little thing that you find in yourself one day that will change your life forever. A little bit like cancer. Because yeah, as you can tell, this didn't end well. Because I realized love has an expiration date. In the best case, it's your expiration date. In the worst case, it's the feeling expiration date. So I always find it funny how people can invest into something which best case scenario is to die together in a car accident. But I owe my ex-girlfriend a lot. I still remember the day I met her. And this probably one of the most, I've been in Sweden for like 6 months, and I was in the metro of Copenhagen with my friend. They came out to visit me, all Italians. So we were a little bit lost around town because it was new and I didn't know where to go. And we actually ran into this beautiful blonde-haired girl with this amazing aquamarine eyes. She was in the metro of Copenhagen with a grey sweater and a binder with the university paper, and she was lost as well. So she turned around to me and asked, like, how do I get to the airport? I had no fucking clue, but I just said, follow us around. And she followed us around and she was listening to us speaking Italian, laughing and smiling at me, and I felt my heart leapt. And I was like, she is the one. Later I would have found that smiling at me while thinking I'm an asshole was the best part of her personality. Yeah. that was a long story. But she was Russian, and which says a lot. Any Russian here tonight? I would say she was not the Boris Yeltsin kind of Russian. She was the Vladimir Putin kind of Russian, the one that scares the shit out of you. She was this really challenging kind of personality that liked to keep me on my toes with unexpected questions out of the blue. Like dating the Riddler from Batman, but if you actually answer right, it might suck your dick. And I remember, like, for example, one night we were in bed, and she was lying on my chest, a beautiful blonde hair on me, and she looked at me and she said, would you like to have sex? And as every sane man, I said, yes, my love, of course. So she stood up, turned around, looked at me like, why? And the fun thing is that until today, I still have no answer to this question. Why do men want to have sex? We don't know. We are just like guided by this thing at some point in our life. We just want. So, that was the kind of thing she used to do to me. And I think I owe her a lot. I was head over heels for her. I loved everything about her. She was a shitty cook. She made me pancakes with caviar once. I almost puked. That's not what you want to do with your girlfriend. But she is the one who inspired me to taking stand-up seriously. And I still remember the day she did it was the day she actually walked out of my apartment for the last time. Because she was on her way to the door, she turned around, looked at me and said, "You're not funny." And I might not be funny, but I'm fucking stubborn. And I felt my Italian pride erupting into my head, screaming, "Fuck you! I'll find a random group of people somewhere to prove you wrong." So thank you for being my reference group tonight. I would actually like to celebrate with a selfie. Wait a second, I'll take both groups. 1 and 2.
2 gigs.
Yes. Fuck you, I'm hilarious. So after that, I went through the amazing 6 months of sadness and masturbation. There's nothing to laugh about, we've all been there. You just have to confess that. I know people have wanked with the worst thing they could find on the internet, dwarf punching people in the face and stuff like that. So we've all been there. And I actually realized that when everybody else lets you down, you can always count on porn. Porn will always be there to cheer you up, to hug you as a friend, and save your day and your life. It's like a guy accompanying you for the rest of your life. After 6 months, the sadness goes away, the masturbation stays. So I feel that we don't really recognize that to porn enough. Porn probably saved more life than penicillin. So I was thinking, for the Nobel Peace Prize, fuck Greta Thunberg, you porn deserve that. And I believe all angry people in the world in reality are just people who don't get laid enough. That's the reality. I mean, if you think, for example, Mujahideen and radicalized Islam, they just want 72 virgins. Let's just give them 72 hookers. If this would not satisfy them, at least the STDs will kill them and we'll just have a problem solved. Yeah, but I've decided at some point that it was about time to stop. It actually happened one day where I realized in the MILF section of Pornhub, the lady in that video was my same age, and she would have probably soon moved from being a MILF to being a JILF. So I was thinking, like, if she is a MILF, she already has kids by now, what am I doing with my life? It's time I move on. So I did what every sane man would do in that situation. I joined Tinder and started smoking weed. Which seems like an odd combination, but Tinder on weed is amazing. You just like swipe through these people, and the first time you get a picture of a dog and you're high, you just laugh your ass off for 3 hours and swipe right, hoping to get a match just to show up on your first date and say, you look different than your pictures. Did you cut your hair? No, I hate Tinder. I hate Tinder because Tinder is like Pokemon Go. It's a great way to find monsters in your area, and that's it. But you get to meet these incredibly insane people on Tinder. Like, I met one, she told me that she did risotto by accident, and we will get to that later, which is not possible. Risotto is an art, you use it on purpose, it's not a freaking accident. But we have become this weird generation of people who live trapped in their apartment and just connect and try to find love online through this digital media, which I find absurd. In my time, now it sounds like I'm 50, but back in the days, love used to be this thing about passion, commitment, adventure, and trying to get outside of your comfort zone, meeting strangers. Now, we just stay home and swipe left and right. Is the story we want to tell our kids this? Daddy, have you met Mommy? Oh, it's a wonderful story, my son. I was sitting on the toilet. I was swiping left and right. When I saw her beautiful bathroom duck face selfie. And I knew she was the one. Because let's break it down. People use Tinder on the toilet. I know we don't want to accept that our partner actually met us while taking a shit, but that's what happens. And honestly, if you think this Tinder is designed to do that, it can be used only with one hand, and that's for purpose. So if I would work in the PR of Tinders, I would actually make that my slogan. Tinder, so you can swipe for love while you wipe your ass. But then, yeah, I started dating again after that. And dating in your 30s is horrible. It's like playing hide and seek with your mental insanities. You're just sitting there, sipping your beer, talking to this person. And you think, I wonder how long it will take you to figure out I'm insane. What will it give away? My action figure collection at home? The anal beads I have on my nightstand? And it just keep going, and you met these weird people who tell you, as I told you before, that they do risotto by accident, which is my latest experience. I mean, risotto is a fucking art. Let's talk about that. You don't make things by accident. It's like making the Mona Lisa by accident. That doesn't exist. So I got so angry with this person, I had to stop the date at some point, and I realized I really, really, really care about food. And I know that's a cliche. Every Italian does, or we really believe to do so. But I think I actually got a little bit far over that, because you don't really kick someone out because of this. But for me, food is literally a religion. It's something I believe in. It's sacred for me. And whenever I see videos of Jamie Oliver cooking stuff online, I feel angry, like a mujahideen seeing caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad. And I realize that it's a little bit too much. You can't really want to kill someone because of your food. But that's the way we see things in Italy. We just spend so much time talking about what the hell goes into pasta that we could have actually go to the moon by now. We would have a pizzeria orbiting around the Earth if we would have just invested the same amount of time into progressing our country. But that's not who we are. We're concerned about pancetta, apparently. So, yeah, if you really think radicalized Islam is dangerous, never show a pineapple pizza to my grandmother. I did it. I felt really lucky that nice old lady don't have access to the nuclear armament, because she would have bombed the shit out of every country around the globe who does something like that. She would have found and killed Jamie Oliver with her bare hands just to make him choke on the freaking carbonara he makes on YouTube. So yeah, that's how things goes down there. But actually she's right. Pineapple pizza is gross. Yeah, you like it?
I like it.
It's an abomination. Oh, there is scientific proof of that. I know there are many people arguing about, is it good, is it bad, is it even allowed? It's not allowed in my opinion, but yeah. The point is, like, pineapple pizza is normally known as Hawaiian pizza. So I heard a lot of Italians saying, hey, this is a terrible way to waste a pizza. Never heard an Hawaiian guy say, this is a terrible way to waste a pineapple. Because let's face it, for pineapple to be on top of pizza is an achievement. It's like for Jay-Z to be on top of Beyonce. Pineapple is just a gross thing that should stay where it is and should never get there. And yes, in my life, pizza is the Beyonce of food. So, yeah, I know, I have a terrible memory, people. That's I have to peek over my notebook every now and then. And the other thing, I'm terrible at timing myself. Sometimes here, 3 minutes feels like 20, which is a terrible issue I also have with my girlfriend. But we can actually get that there later. So the other thing I really have an issue with is spicy food. I know in many countries spicy food is a really big thing. It's like some sort of like proof of your manlyhood. The spicier it is, the better it is, the manlier you are. But I don't understand it. I never actually been in a situation where I took that pain could be considered a condiment. Never really happened to me to be eating like a plate of pasta and thinking, oh, this is so good. It would actually be much better if somebody would punch me in the face right now. So, Today people are really becoming obsessed about food. We have all these food tendencies, like someone is vegan, someone is gluten-free, someone is organic and stuff like that. And I started having a lot of problem organizing parties with my friends. Because every time I invite someone, or every time I go to a party, I never know what to bring. Normally you bring wine, or you bring gelato, or you bring something else. And the point is like, now you don't know what to do. You need to know what is the food obsession of each one of them. So last time I was invited to a dinner and I had like a vegan guy and nice. I had a vegan guy and a gluten-free guy and an organic guy. Well, I found a simple solution. I brought cocaine. That's gonna satisfy all of them. I never heard about anyone complaining about, oh, there's gluten in cocaine, that's bad for me. So, there's a solution to anything. So yeah, but seriously, I do love food. This is probably the thing I miss the most about Italy. Sweden, especially, has really horrible food. It's just pure randomness made food. They have this thing called the Flying Jacob, which is a violation of human rights. It's rotisserie chicken, bananas. I'm not joking. That's the hard thing. Nuts and cream. They just put everything in a casserole, put it in the oven, and just take it out and eat. Yeah. No, bananas. I see banana on pizzas, which is making me even more angry. I see pizza with banana and curry. So this thing is called the Flying Jacob, and it's really popular in Sweden. And I hope it's called Flying Jacob because someone threw Jacob out of the freaking window the day this guy actually invented it. So I'm really having a hard time with food there, but honestly, I know that this is a problem because I said, like, food is my religion. Food is something I totally believe in, and as you know, this is the second biggest religion in Italy. The first one is our amazing Catholicism, something I can get rid of everywhere I go, because it's a religion based on shame, but has the plus that nobody tries to cut out your dick when you still can talk. But I found out going around the world that many girls actually find the uncircumcised penis quite weird. One night one of them actually told me, oh, it looks like the bald guy in a turtleneck. Which is probably the best definition I've ever heard about it. And after a little while, she was also concerned about the cleanliness of it. How do you keep it clean? I was like, honey, an uncircumcised penis is like a duvet. You take the cover out, you wash it, you put the cover back, and the job is done. Or does she assume I'm just too lazy to do that? Did we find out the whole Judaism thing is just two guys going, oh, this whole penis removal cover is so cumbersome, we need to find a solution. Yeah, but actually I think men are lazy. I know men are lazy by effect. I stopped going to church the day I realized I'd rather rot in hell than wake up on a Sunday morning. Especially sober, like I like to party on Saturdays, like what the hell am I going to do at 7 a.m. on a Sunday? I don't even know who the hell I am. So, but I always found it interesting in the way we actually organize society around what kind of invisible woman lives in the sky. Yes, I said it. God is a woman. And I have proof of it. I'm pretty sure that you don't know, but I actually did some total research. And I realized that no man would ever work 6 days in a row voluntarily without jerking off a couple of times. So I seriously believe that if God would be a man, the whole creation in the Bible would be 2 chapters long and would end up with, and on the second day, God created beer and PlayStation and said, fuck it. And the other proof I have is the 10 Commandments. When God, invited Moses to the top of Mount Sinai, she didn't just trust him to do what she told him to do. She gave him a list to make sure that he knew exactly what commandments to abide. That's how it was. We are lazy. We forget stuff. We don't know what we are doing, and that's why ladies are around this work to actually organize our life. Otherwise, we would just be a complete mess. I seriously think that the vast majority of our advancement in society has been done because men wanted to be laid, and the woman told them, like, okay, if you really want to get laid with me, you need to get your shit together. And that's how we got to art, progress, technology, and this kind of thing. Otherwise, we would just still be fucking in the mud each other. I know that as a fact. But yeah, I really have a hard time getting after this Catholicism that I've been grown in. I still do remember funny things like my grandmother. We didn't have Santa until the 80s. My grandmother was telling me that my Christmas gift was brought to me by baby Jesus, which is probably why I still associate Christmas with child labor even before my gifts were made in China. And I still think that nowadays there's this thing that it has to be really hard to be a Chinese kid in China because you basically get handed back the same shit you've been building until 5 minutes before. It's like Santa going like, oh, you did a nice job on this track. There you go, you deserve one. But yeah, I remember with stuff like, we have crucifixes everywhere in Italy. We have crucifixes in school, crucifixes in police station. I still remember we had a crucifix in my computer science class. Because apparently in our country, coding in Java in front of a Palestinian guy nailed to a wooden plank means progress. Yeah. But yeah, I moved to Sweden, like I said, 5 years ago, and I suffer from that quite a lot. For example, also Lauren, I know my friend, is in the same page, because we both live abroad and we see our country currently run by clowns. And this is like seeing your ex-girlfriend dating a white trash dude. Like, you are really trying to not give a fuck about that, but deep down you know she deserves better. And all this Salvini, Trump, Marie Le Pen, these people getting more and more popular today, these are the clear example of an abusive relationship. Because if you look at that, these people are never really trying to let you know how they could improve your life. They will always let you know how your life would be worse without them. And these people don't care about us. These people don't care about our happiness. Because when you make someone scared, you're basically killing every chance this person has to have happiness. Fear is the kryptonite of happiness. I never heard about anyone being frightened happy at the same time. So these people should actually go. These people are abusive boyfriends trying to actually keep us down with fears every single day, and we should freaking dump them the moment they show up. So now, back to my fart jokes. The other thing about politics I never really understand is nationalism. This thing is working.
It's definitely working.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
We can't hear you.
Okay, yeah, I could actually move it up. But I like the fact that I hold the mic. Give me like a charisma. So, I will never get nationalism because basically it's being proud of the location of your mom's vagina the day you were born and the fact that you never really moved anywhere else. Which is a pretty dumb thing to do. Like, it's like being proud of something you really have no participation. I would understand someone like an immigrant being proud of being Swedish. I would understand someone like a transgender person being proud of being a woman. But I would never understand these people being proud of something that just happened to them. It's like being proud of being hit by a bus. You didn't chase the bus for that to happen to you. It was just a freaking accident. And now you're like, oh yeah, I am that guy. I'm the guy who got hit by a bus. I'm proud of it. And you make that part of your personality. You build on that and you start parties around it. And you think that people who don't have the same accident that you have should not be around you. Oh, so I'm sorry, you didn't get hit by a bus like I did, so you should stay where the fuck you are right now. Yeah. But I'm getting past that. I'm living abroad now. I'm trying to not think that much about my country and the idiots running it. But I have a serious problem with the Swedish language. I want to integrate, I want to be part of the Swedish society, but Swedish is a very messed up language. And there are really some strange false strands that coming from Italy nobody ever makes you aware about. For example, fika. Does anybody know what fika means in Italian? You're gonna have a ball now. Fika in Swedish means coffee. Fika in Italian means pussy. And you can imagine my reaction the first time my boss came to my desk at work and told me, "Oh, we'd love to have you here. Would you like to have fika with the rest of the team this afternoon?" I mean, for a good half an hour, I was honestly convinced she was about to bring 20 hookers and have a orgy together with my work team. Thank you, that's my dinner coming.
There's lots of pineapple on it.
Oh, is that pineapple? So yeah, but now I'm trying to learn the language and I'm trying to get better and I'm using Duolingo. Is anybody using Duolingo around here? What language are you learning? Czech.
Check.
How's it going?
No, wow.
Duolingo is really messed up. I realized that recently. Duolingo is an amazing app if you want to die alone in a foreign country and let your last words be, "My uncle doesn't eat turtles." It's teaching me the most useless sentences in the world. The other day, I actually called Duolingo "she." I still don't know why, but it was telling me, "Why is there a Norwegian architect in my bed?" Because apparently that's a phrase you're going to use at some point in Sweden. Probably everybody just gets laid with Norwegian architect every now and then. And then I think Duolingo actually figured out I'm Italian, and it's a little bit racist about it. Because the other day was teaching me a phrase, "I don't trust the police." And the next day was teaching me, "Oh, I'm having lunch with my lawyer." So I think my language app is trying to get me to make me become a mobster. I'm expecting him to be teaching me at some point like Chaim Heisenberg or something like that. So yeah. Oh, this is the final part. This is where things really get wild because I never organized my speech. But the other thing about moving to Sweden is that you get to face this weird weather they have. I mean, and I feel like being in Sweden made me a worse person. I used to care about the environment, I used to be recycling, dividing my garbage and trying to build a better world. But now every time Swedish winter comes and somebody talks about global warming, I'm like, fuck yeah, where do I sign up for that? If I bike for 5 minutes in Malmo in the cold winter, the only thing I can think about is to buy a Humvee with a wooden oven and play O Sole Mio out loud on the radio. O Sole Mio! And baking pizza all the freaking time. Because to be honest, like, it's absolutely terrible. You have like 3 hours of light, you start to feel like a vampire after 3 days. And the moment the sun gets out, everybody's running to get that ray of light. And I'm starting to become like that. Like when I go back to Italy, I don't remember that there's sun everywhere and it's freaking hot, but I try to stand in the sun, and after 3 minutes I'm burnt like an idiot. But there's this great Swedish girl, Greta Thunberg. Have you heard about her?
Yeah.
She's been in the news everywhere.
Yeah.
This little girl who actually decided to actually raise the bar over the global warming thing, and she decided to strike for that. She's really dumb. Like, she's basically saying, okay, I'm not gonna do shit until somebody fixes this problem. Which is the most Italian approach to things I can think about. And if Swedes start getting that way, guys, we are fucked. Because there are already too many Italians in this world, and we are not really moving forward if that happens. But I think someone who actually had a very good solution for global warming was Thanos. Nobody seen the Avengers movie?
I've seen it, yeah.
Wipe 50% of the population. Let's see how global warming does later on. So now I'm really hoping Greta finds the Infinity Stones and just kills off half of us. Everybody was giving her a very bad time by the fact that she was eating food out of plastic, without realizing that the only way nowadays to eat food that has not been wrapped into plastic before is basically cannibalism. So, yeah, but at least global warming will kill us all, but we will be...
Yeah, it's still on.
Okay. But we will be very tanned the day we die. So, what's the point of my act? I always like to finish my stuff with something interesting, with a message to my audience. And the thing is, like, I realized while growing old and getting to this age, that we all start to look at ourselves like a big pile of problems. And the more you grow old, the more you start thinking like, oh, who wants to deal with my morning breath? Who wants to deal with my body hair? Who wants to deal with the mess I leave behind myself all the freaking time? And you start to think that we can achieve happiness if we solve all of these problems, if we become perfect. I found out you cannot. Being perfect will not make you happy. There's only one thing in this world that is scientifically designed to make you happy. Drugs. So the thing is, like, I really think that we are all pile of problems in a sense. We all fight against the small flaws and issues we carry around from day and night, and that is what actually is making us heroes. I'm a pile of problems too. We're all a pile of problems. We're a pile of problems who have a job. We're a pile of problems who pay bills. We're a pile of problems who actually don't give up on their friends. We're a pile of problems who believes in a better world. So at the end of the day, the important thing is not to be perfect, is not to be flawless, but is to be amongst the good pile of problems who walk this earth. So go out and be a good pile of problems. And don't put pineapple on my fucking pizza.
Take 10 minutes, pee, smoke, whatever it is that you're doing, drink, do drugs, and then come back.
I have no idea, but it was over 35.
Thank you.